shameful distortions of the truth. I stood as mankind's guide, shepherding them with wisdom and love. I was betrayed. Those power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I came to Rogar, as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left black, corpse shook their crusade. The judges marched me to this land, which has served gods, figures of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing their triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me. The insistent hubris of humanity. Distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in the end, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. Judges, crazed followers, butchered those who remained kill a god, despite their best efforts. Blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, because of worship, real ambition, or to claim. Yet how the people deluded themselves into believing triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. All the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny. See what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves, but had proven sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me, now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Obvious and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in the insistent hubris of humanity. Distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherd of wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned their own children against me, and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. Judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to them. And when they created the Rogar, the means to put to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges were unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. Left blackened, corpse choked by their crusade. this barren realm, which has served as my prison and the insistent hubris of humanity. Judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges, their crazed followers, butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created a new cult, the means put an end to the madness. They too were match for the heathen forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, men set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods. Worship, their real ambition, all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people believe themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believe they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What is an abhorrent, umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in force light and obfuscated shadow. Hubris of humanity. Shameful distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created the Overwatch as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. Even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by the crusade, the judges banished me to this battleground, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of those who accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, figures of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was never spilled in my And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. Hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven sorely mistaken. Time needs me, now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Orius and the abhorrent unknown creature? They are cowards, hiding in foresight and obfuscating shadow, deeming you unworthy of their presence in your union. And yet, here I stand before you with true words and open arms. I love all of my children, even the wayward ones. Listen to me. You must stop this before you allow yourself to tempt all of mankind for eternity. I am not your enemy, only what my own enemies fear. The loss of the dominion they have established for themselves in your absence. Cease your misguided violence. The presence of a god-human. Your god. I formed you and can just as easily destroy you. Yet you dare defy my will. The world in which you exist is my world. The insistent hubris of humankind. Distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. Judges and their Christ followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. When I created the Jogando as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this land, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, figures of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in mine. And now, all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. Hatred, suffering, chaos. They were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me now more than ever. And what are the beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Onius and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in foresight and obfuscating shadows, deeming you unworthy of their presence, their cause. And yet, here I stand before you, true words and open arms. For I love all of my children, even the wayward ones. Listen to me. You must stop this before you allow yourself to condemn all of mankind for eternity. I am not your enemy. Your own enemies fear. The loss of the dominion they have established for themselves in my absence. Cease your misguided violence. Now. The presence of a god-human. Your god. I formed you from nothing and can just as easily destroy you. Yet you dare defy my will. The world in which you exist is my world, my home, and yet mankind, my own creation, the insistent hubris of humanity. judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war. Needless slaughter. Their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created the Rogard as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the heathen forces. In the end, I fell. All the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. The world left blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade. The judges banished me to this battleground, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set up themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how long time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods? Because of worship, their real mission all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves. Sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me, now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Aureus and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in foresight and obfuscating shadow. Unworthy of their presence, their communion. And yet, here I stand before you with true words and open arms. For I love all of my children, even the wayward ones. Listen to me. You must stop this before you allow yourself the insistent hubris of humanity. Of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry motherfuckers who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me. Waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. god, despite best efforts. In a world left black and corpse-choked, the judges banished me to this land, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set about themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, because they worshipped their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing our triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Orius and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in falsehood and obfuscated shadow, deeming you unworthy of their presence. And yet, here I stand before you with true words and open arms. For I love all of my children. Listen to me. You must stop this before you allow yourself to condemn all mankind for eternity. I am not your enemy, only what my own enemies feel. Unless you believe they have established themselves in absence. Cease your misguided violence. Now. You are in the presence of a god human. Your god. I formed you from nothing and can just as easily destroy you. Yet you would dare defy my will. The world in which you exist is my world, my home, in mankind, my own creation, exiled from it. You have no idea what it is to suffer such a monstrous betrayal, or to endure ages of torment which follow. Insistent hubris of humanity. distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guide, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created the world as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the heathen forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. And corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this battleground, which has served as my prison ever since. Mankind set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how long time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, figures of worship, their real ambition brought clear. How come the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph? How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been sorely mistaken. Mankind needs me, now more than ever. And what of other beings to claim God? Where are they? What of Orius and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in foresight and obfuscating shadow, leaving you unworthy of their presence. And yet, here I stand before you with true words and open arms. For I love all of my children, even the wayward ones. Listen to me. You must stop this. Don't allow yourself to condemn all of mankind for eternity. I am your enemy, only what my own enemies fear. The loss of the dominion they have established for themselves in my absence. Cease your misguided violence. Now. You are in the presence of a god human. Your god. I formed you from nothing and can just as easily destroy you. Yet you dare